What are the things you learn from the bees as a collective being about our collective as humans, or
Mhm.
our collective as biosphere? We could also say, where is,
Right.
where is the distinction? And so maybe you can share a little bit because and then we will transition also to collective healing and to healing in general. But what are the principles that you see when you observe bees that you think are important for your understanding of collective health, for example?
Yeah, a few things come to heart in response to your question. And one is that bees attune to one another and the environment around them. So they do this through sound, vibration, movement, dancing, even to share where resources are or orient to their hives. And they're not only attuned to the conditions present in their physical hive, their home, they're present to the conditions outside of the hive because they're foraging in the environment outside of the hive and bringing resources back. And there's a higher intelligence they embody. I believe a higher intelligence, a higher understanding, because they're in relationship with the sun, the rain, the trees, right? They collect tree resin to create a substance called propolis to protect their hive. So they're working with the environment around them in a way that I think is not unfamiliar as I think about lineage. It's not unfamiliar to my lineage, but as I think about technology and like the world, and as I mentioned, the pace at which things are moving, and how I'm receiving information, that those things disrupt my ability to attune to my environment and my internal environment, right? My nervous system and other people and the more than human world. And so I think I've learned a lot about just from observing them, how they're in constant communication, regulating the balance of their hive, not separate from what is happening outside of their home, their hive. That's like one lesson, and the other I mentioned is that they're superorganisms. So this idea that we're an extension of one another, which they emulate and illustrate to us all of the time. And one way to think about this is that most times honeybees, their life cycle is about six to 8 weeks, unless they're winter bees. Winter bees live longer, so they can get the hive through winter. And foraging is the final stage of their life cycle. And they're foraging for nectar and water and tree resin and pollen. And the foragers may never see the benefit of those resources they are gathering, but they gather them anyway for the future. I love this lesson. Like, what does it mean to engage in practice and work for a future that I may not see? It just that is such a profound lesson from them. And finally, and there are many, but finally, what I'll share is that everything they create is medicinal. So honeycomb, propolis, the nectar that they transform and alchemize into honey, even bee venom, which I don't collect bee venom or use that in some way. Although some people do that, I don't take that resource from the bees. But everything about them is medicine, and I love to think about what is my medicine, right? What is your medicine? What is our medicine? What is our offering? So those are a few lessons.